Good evening, Mr. Gorski. How are you today?
Very good. How are you?
Excellent. I'm doing very well. Tell us about yourself and why are you applying for this position?
My name is Mr. Gorski. I am a combat veteran. Served in Operation Iraqi Freedom as well as Operation Enduring Freedom, the Afghan campaign. And this position sounds ideal.
Great. What do you consider two of your greatest strengths and how will they benefit this organization?
My greatest strengths are the ability to maintain my calm, cool composure. Under the most dire circumstances.
All right. What are your greatest weaknesses?
I don't consider myself to have any weaknesses, especially pertaining to the field of maritime aviation. But if I did, I would work quickly to overcome that weakness, so it would not be a weakness no more.
That's very good. Tell us a time when you had to work as a team. What was your role on that team?
In Iraq, I was a paratrooper, an infantryman at that, so I was an infantry team member. Right off the bat, I was the squad automatic weapon, the machine gunner, and later I branched out to other infantry team positions. And my second deployment, I operated as a platoon designated marksman for a reconnaissance platoon before I got promoted to team leader of a infantry fire team. And then I had a brief tenure as an infantry squad leader in charge of two teams rather than one because our squad leader got injured before my climactic end of the deployment.
Wow, so it sounds like you have experience in leader positions and you've taken on a lot of responsibility in the past. This might be a job for you. Can you give us a specific example of a high pressure situation you've experienced on the job and how did you handle that situation?
On multiple bad days in the Middle East, I've had plenty of opportunity on applying tourniquets and applying tourniquets on fresh amputees. And I was able to stop the bleeding while always returning fire and getting our guys out of there. Some of them may have had some mangled limbs or a part of a limb missing, but everybody was able to get to a hospital bed before they bled out.
Excellent, you've saved lives. Wow, it's amazing. How about tell us what motivates you as an employee?
Just the prospect of having the responsibility of taking 6 more Americans out on a waterborne vessel, bringing that waterborne maritime vessel to a altitude, tour the keys, and return them safely to sea level and to port. Just the concept of bringing Americans back home safely.
Very good, Mr. Gorski. How would you describe your ideal job?
My ideal job is something along those lines. Having the ability and the obligation to work, one, on the tropical seas, two, to elevate to altitude via a aviation vessel, and enjoy my nights on a tropical island. Can't beat that, right?
Very good. Yeah, that sounds like the exact description of the job you're applying for. Excellent. What would you find as most challenging about this position that you're applying for?
I don't find anything particularly challenging about this position, and I look forward to the opportunity to work for you guys. I imagine with all tours, the hardest thing to factor in and to account for is your tourist. You have God knows what kind of tourists coming from. Nobody knows what part of the world, and they're all different, bringing their own cultures and fears and phobias. And I will have to do good juggling to make sure everybody is accommodated for and enjoys their trip.
Great, that's excellent. Sounds like you've already thought about this job and considered the challenges. I like your response. Now, how do you respond to people criticizing your work?
I guess I respond very well. Very, very well for somebody with my credentials. But I nevertheless will always like to take criticism with an open heart and a grain of salt. I appreciate people's positive criticism as well as any feedback they could give me so I could alter my own preparation to better accommodate our clientele.
Excellent. What did you like most about your current or previous position, and what did you like the least? Try to be specific here.
Well, the thing that I like the least is easy. It was all those Washington war dog politics that trickle down to every nook and cranny. And the thing that I like the most is, without a doubt, the honor and privilege of serving and leading with America's finest young men and women. There's a phrase that uncommon valor is a virtue, and today's 18-year-old, 19-year-old, last season's former cheerleaders and varsity football players, it's still the biggest honor to be in their presence, to be humbled by them and their commitment to this country.
All right. Now, give us an example of when you tried to accomplish something work-related and failed, did not succeed.
When you ask a question like that, only one circumstance comes to mind. St. Patrick's Day, 2010. I was operating in a sniper's nest overlooking a valley with a small little Afghan town. And while I was up there looking down through a scope like this, I had the distinct misfortune of watching a beautiful, approximate 14-year-old, beautiful young lady be stoned and finished off by her brother and what was potentially her father. I stood there in this position, called and called radioed for hire and radioed for hire the whole time, requesting position to intervene to save the young girl. Due to the Washington war dog politics, I never got the answer for in the appropriate time. And through a scope very similar to this, I watched the beautiful, green-eyed teenage beauty get stoned. It was very up close and personal, even though I was far up a mountain. I got to see everything as if I was a yard away because of the great magnification.
Wow, that sounds like a very difficult situation for anyone to be in, much less someone with your experience. Well, that looks like the end of our interview for today. It was very nice meeting you, Mr. Bursky, and
Thank you.
you will be hearing from us soon. Thank you for your visit, and I hope you have a lovely day.
Definitely. And the reason why I chose to have this as my background for all you viewers at home is because when I had to go hunt in the mountains of Afghanistan for high value individuals, the only things we would have to go off of is a video like this of them bragging and talking a bunch of nonsense in front of a bunch of weapons, maybe a few goons, in front of a random wall. So, just give you a little piece of where I'm from. Thank you. Rock on.